Alright, if my expectations are clear for what I'm doing when Ms. Hodges is teaching you a lesson, please show me a thumbs up on your table. Thank you for the quiet thumbs, gorillas. No offense. Okay, if the tigers didn't hear that, Trey, Nicole, you might want to hear that. I'm just going to watch Ms. Hodges teach. I'll be in the back taking notes. You can change your number if you're not paying attention or listening. And it's up to you to figure out why you had that number change. But I know you guys are going to be great. Sure.
Excellent. All right. So today I'm just going to continue going over. You guys have been talking about using your inner voice while reading, correct? And talking about things that you think of. So if you read a story, it kind of makes you think of different things in your head. Today we're going to be talking about how even adults, do you agree that I have been reading longer than you have? Yeah? But I still get stumped on stories, and I still read stories that kind of confuse me, and my inner voice, it can go off, or it can be like, what is going on? I don't even know what's going on. So I'm going to read a story to you that I was reading last night, because I really enjoy traveling. So there was a story in Times magazine called Stealing Beauty. So I'm going to share a little bit with you. And the first thing, so while I'm reading, your job is to watch me and listen to things when I get stumped. If you see me getting confused, I'm going to think aloud and make notes in your head about what I'm doing to help fix those problems. And we're also going to be creating a chart later on. I'll just kind of show you what it's going to look like. It's called Monitoring Comprehension. So you think of ways of why I'm confused. So can someone give me an example of some reasons you get confused in stories? Hard words. You know, I'm going to start adding some of that because that would be great. Hard words. Are there some other things that can make you kind of confused? You cannot get it, so it's kind of maybe because you're bored and it doesn't interest you. Bored. Anything else? I like that. If you're reading so fast, you're not even really paying attention to the words. And I know Trevion has had his hand up. What is something that stops you?
I can't sound it out. I can't sound it out.
It's not that good, so it's not interesting. Alright, those are great ideas. I'm going to start reading, and so think of ways that I can help fix, or listen to ways that I show you how to fix the confusion. So stealing beauty. The first thing that I see that stumps me is stealing beauty. Why would I want to read an article about stealing? And how can you steal beauty? So to kind of help me with that title, I'm going to go up and see the subtitle. Maybe if I read that. The ruthless art thieves are rapidly stripping Asia's culture site of precious artifacts and selling them to smugglers and dealers who hawk them in the West. So from reading that, I learned that there must be some art thieves that are stealing art pieces from Asia, and which is beautiful to the people who live in Asia. So they must be stealing them from them. So the citizens of, when I see this word, I don't really know how to pronounce that. So I'm just going to skip over it and see if it messes with me or if it doesn't matter right now. This village moved lazily. And I wonder why they're saying lazily, because I don't know about them. It kind of makes me upset that they're calling some people lazy if they're getting stolen from. I don't really know. So maybe I should read on to figure out why the author is calling them lazy. With a languor born of chronic underemployment, they are famous by tradition but exorbitant taxes are leached and profitability out of their profession. That was kind of a lot to take in. It says that there's underemployment. I know what that means, but I don't really know what labor means. But I know underemployment means that there's not enough jobs, so people aren't working, because they can't really make some money. And so it says they're losing. Exorbitant is a really big word for high taxes. So the taxes are really costing them a lot of money. So they're not making any money working, and the taxes are so high, so all of their money is going away. So from reading and reading on and skipping over the hard words, I can kind of use some background knowledge of high taxes costing a lot of money to help me understand that these farmers aren't making any money anymore. So on hot days, the local peasants sit on concrete stoops, pant legs hiked up to their thighs, fanning themselves with the latest propaganda broadsheet from Beijing and waiting until dusk to fall. For it is only at night that and there's that word again, the exfoliate comes alive. So here, I was looking and I noticed that the only thing that these people are doing with their newspapers are using them as fans. And it says that propaganda, those are new, where it said the propaganda from Beijing, that is an article in a newspaper only written by the government. So these people that are sitting on the stoops, like the farmers that are using them as fans, they must not care about what the government is saying in Beijing. If they're not going to read them and they're just using them as fans, they must not really care. So by using background knowledge of already knowing what propaganda is and kind of reading and using context clues of what the story says about the farmers just sitting, it shows me that they're not really caring. Underneath this sad little village in Henan province is a rich legacy of the 5 millenniums of Chinese history. The nearby city was the capital of at least 9 dynasties, and the fields of today's peasants are littered with imperial tombs. Many still hold impossible, valuable works of art buried centuries ago. Breaking into these tombs and stealing the national treasures that held are illegal, of course, but there's a lure too great for many, especially because of one major fault. Sold to smugglers can equal a year's farming income. So can anyone tell me, that's kind of a lot to take in. So it's saying the farmers are not making money, so they're deciding to steal these arts. Do you know why they're stealing the arts? It's kind of tricky because they're trying to trade them, you know? That's right. So they're stealing all of these artifacts to make money. Can you try and talk with your groups to see how you feel about these people stealing the arts that aren't theirs? Is that a good thing to do? Do you agree with it? You can try and talk with your friends. Right. Right, it does. It's something that means a lot to the industry.
Looks more like a tea guy.
Yeah. Agree. You agree? Yeah. I don't agree with you. It's not fair. All right. Do you have any ideas of what you guys talked about? Yes. It's bad because they're not listening to the government. They're taking things that aren't theirs.
It belongs to the
Yeah, it does, because it says they're from centuries ago. So it must be stuff that was created by, their ancestors or something that means a lot to them. So very good. Can some of you guys tell me, so far, I know we've covered a lot of text, And I know I got confused while reading it, but what are some of the things that I have done so far to help me kind of get back and understand the text?
You guys did words that was hard.
I like that. That is going to go up. I have 2 columns. The one we've already started, why meaning breaks down, and we said hard words. So you just told me a fix-up strategy, and you said that I skipped over them. Good job. So we can skip over some of the hard words, and we can find out later how to pronounce them. Skip over. Can anyone else say anything that any strategies that I've used to help me understand Vivian? And if you see something that I use, I say that again? You can pronounce them, so try to pronounce them. Yes, Alyssa. I am reading and thinking. How do you know I'm reading and thinking? Because I can just read it. Excellent. Stop and think and talk with yourself if you need some help. So let's see. I'm going to add that under reading too fast. Because if we read too fast, we can't stop and think, can we? Trinity, did you notice something? That's right, I did skip over. There's a lot of hard words in that one to me. Can someone, what did I do whenever I read the sentence about propaganda broadsheet from Beijing? Remember I said I kind of already knew what propaganda was, so what was I using? You almost said it, yes. Thinking? Do we know what using what you already know is called? What's your background? Oh.
Background knowledge.
Yes, your background knowledge. So I'm going to add that to using background knowledge. If we use background knowledge while we're reading, it can help us with the confusion. Even if we don't understand part of the sentence, you can use your background knowledge to help build on what you do not know. Did you notice something else?
No, I'm just asking. You can't see what you're writing because it's too low.
Oh, well that's not very helpful. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I also, did I stop and kind of reread things and talk out loud, and did I do that? Because I can't remember, so I'm kind of recalling on you guys to see what I did. So should I add that to the fix-up strategies or for the why meaning breaks down? Fix-up strategies. Because another thing you can do is if you stop and reread, it will help you. I'm going to read a little bit more, and I'm going to see if you guys, I'm going to read a little bit, and then I'm going to give you guys time to practice because I put some books on your paper, but we're going to also start, I want everyone to start making a monitoring comprehension so that when we read, you guys can have things that maybe you find new strategies that you guys can do, and we can add them to mine. Said, and the trade in Asian relics, whether obtained legally or looted, is blooming. Driven by demand from wealthy Western and Eastern collectors seeking to decorate their Soho loft and Shanghai penthouses with everything from ancient Buddha heads to Heimer sculptures. During art auctions in London this summer, 2 of the brightest sales were prized Asian objects, both of them legitimately acquired. So I kind of wanted to know why they were stealing things. We already answered that, so asking questions also helps. So I think I'm going to add that to my fix-up strategies. You think asking questions would be a good one to add? Thumbs up? Thumbs down? I see 2 thumbs up. Do you think kind of? Why do you think kind of? That's fine if you. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. For me, it kind of helps because if I ask a question, even if I don't find out the answer right away, I can kind of read with that question in mind, thinking about it in the back of my head. So if I do come and figure out the answer, then it can make the beginning of the story make sense. So maybe I should add that to asking questions. Alright, before we start practicing, I want you guys to turn and talk about if you have ever read a story that you don't understand, or maybe you got lost and didn't know a word, and think of something that you have done. So turn and talk with your tables. Like if there were books that you didn't understand, tell your friends like what it was or what you did, or have you noticed it? Maybe you haven't noticed your voice wandering off. Well, so if you didn't understand it, what were some of the things that you did? Were you reading them? Well, it wasn't reading to you? So what did you do to help yourself kind of think through things? So
I used to find funeral stuff and
very cool. I like how you said you read, and I like how I read. I think I'm gonna add that. What have you guys thought about? You guys, you sounded out, so you practice sounding out words. What if some of the story you don't understand it? Have you ever read the story or you go to another story? What happens? You kind of have to the text. Like, yeah, like what are some things that you do? You make you don't know, you can think. I think that's really good.
chicken.
Have you guys thought of any ideas? Have you guys get... Come up with any ideas? We're talking about how we kind of get bored in reading. What are some things you can do? When we're reading, what can we do to help refocus ourselves?
Found a word I didn't understand, I studied it and then I discovered his name.
Oh, okay, so you skipped the word, but you kept reading the sentence, and that kind of helped you understand the word. Like, no, very good. So you kept reading on. I'm gonna add that one too. Did you think of anything for that? If not, that's okay. You can still keep talking for a few more minutes and we'll see what they said. That's okay. You guys can talk after. See what you guys discovered. You wondered what would happen next, so that's kind of like a question. That's very good. So you're wondering, so it makes you want to read more. It makes you want to keep really paying attention to what the words are saying.
God has made
Very good. So you practiced and read I've heard some great ideas that I want to add to my fix-up strategy. Can some of you share what you talked about? Barbara? By finger rules. She's kind of monitoring as she goes to see if the book is going to be too hard for her or if she wants to keep reading it. So I'm going to add. Yes, Trinity. Yes, Trinity sounds out words that she doesn't know. So she kind of breaks apart the words. So that works too if you don't know a word. Very good. There.
It's important to just change my voice and everything.
Did everyone hear that? What he does? I didn't even think about that one. He said he changes his inner voice. So he can kind of control how exciting or how boring. Because he said, well, if I don't like the book, then I'm just going to put it away and kind of go with our Why Readers Abandon Books, and I'm not going to read it. But I was like, well, what if we have to read it? What if we're studying for a test and it's boring and we have to get through it, we have to know it? He said that he changes his inner voice and makes it sound exciting. So I'm going to put that one down. I didn't think about that one, and I think I will use that one later. Boy. Does anyone else want to share? No? Exactly. I don't know if we put that one. She said she goes back and she rereads, and then she kind of reads on. So we didn't add that one, reading on. If there's a word that you don't know, sometimes if you continue the sentence, then it will help you understand what the beginning part says. So I'm going to add that to reread and read on. Very good. Can everyone get out your journals? We're going to start making a monitoring comprehension book for when you are reading. And I'll show you what we're going to do. Alright, on everyone's paper, I'm going to show you, we're going to kind of set it up, because I have also some books. I want you to, when you read, I want you to write down places that stump you. If you come to a word you don't know, maybe write down that word. If you come to a sentence that you don't know, write down the questions of, I'm confused, or I don't understand what's going on, maybe I should read on. So if you draw a line down your paper, in the middle of it, and then you're going to divide it, you're going to have 6 squares on your paper. So a line across and a line across. And that will give you 6 spots to write down your different readings. And that should be more than enough to write down all of your thoughts and conclusions. And while you're reading, if you come say, I don't know this word, and then you keep reading and you figure out that word, write down how you figured that out. Did you use background knowledge? Did you read on? And sometimes you can make, if you have a new strategy, we're going to come back together in a few minutes and we're going to share what we did. There are some books on the table, on your extra desk. Everyone just pick one. It doesn't matter which one because they're all nonfiction.
Understanding the future.
So we're going to take a few minutes to read quietly, and I want you to listen to your inner voice and be aware of what your inner voice is saying. If it strays off, we're going to talk about that when we come back, about what to do. Right now, we're just going to make, listen to your inner voice and write down what you're thinking. So we do that too. Maybe we should do a fix. you guys come to any parts of the book that you didn't understand, or words that you didn't know, or were you guys confused? Yes. Reduce. So he came to a word he didn't understand. So did you write reduce down? Did you ever figure out what reduce was? Well, how did you figure out what reduce was? Right, so he wrote down a word he didn't know, but then he kept going and he kept reading, so then he was able to figure out what reduce was. Very good. Did anyone else come to a part that was confusing? Nutrients. So she also came to another subject she didn't know about, nutrients. So she wrote that. See how she wrote that down? And so she knows to kind of read on and think about, so she can write, what is nutrients? And then she kept reading, and right there it tells her what nutrients are. So she was able to check that off as, now I understand. Renewable resource. It seems like everyone is finding big words in text. That's good, because I know I came to a lot of words in here whenever I was reading it last night. I was like, what is going on? I don't know. So I like how you're writing down and making notes of words that you don't know. We only have a few more minutes, so I'm going to tell you guys one more thing to watch out for while reading. I don't want you to get stumped on it like I did. Right here, when I was reading about the trade in Asian relics, it comes to a part where it says ancient Buddha. Right here. Whenever I was reading that, I was like, Buddha reminds me of Tibet. And I thought about a movie I was watching with my dad about Tibet. That's a connection, right? I'm thinking about Buddha. That's text to world, that's right. But while I'm reading, I need to make what? Text to
Something.
Text to text connections. So even though that's a connection I've made with the world, that's great. But I need to make sure that my inner voice is keeping me focused on what the text is saying. So I can be like, oh, that's a good connection. But I need to stop, refocus myself, and see what they're trying to tell me. And then I can go off and daydream about Tibet later. Does that make more sense? Yeah? Very good. That's pretty much, all the time we have. So, good job. Thank you, guys.
Salami? Okay, when I'm done speaking, I'd like you to just put your, I already lost a couple of you. You put your notebooks back beside your desk and your books politely organized on your desk. Why do I see people moving already? Still speaking.